I think Radiance just has to get a few items onto their Persephone, Cupid, Guan, and then I think the game is probably over. The one bright side is on her for Zap. If Zap does get a lead, he is one of the best hunters, and he's playing on her. So that's
a big one, this too. Radiance PK, they saw each other at the playoffs in Phase 1, and now, once again, they're going to meet each other in Phase 2
they might
playoffs.
Just decide to try and, I mean, go towards the on her and try to make that one work.
Well, at the moment, it looks like Radiance are going towards Scary D, and there's first blood for Benji. A little contest around that Total Maku, at the same time adapting blinks over the wall to pick that one up. Pressure surmounted from that, other than the supports now not having ultimates available, but an invade on the red buff is available for Radiance. Big Man Tinks, last one to try and rotate towards his teammates as Neil gives chase. In comes Cubo Fred 2, but so does Adapting looking for Neil Marr. Kisses off the mark and won't find Paul because that was a clone, and now it's Adapting in a world of pain. The rest of his team have left him, and it's going to be Cubo Fred picking up the kill. That was an attempted invade by Radiance that was collapsed on. Nice. Realistically, I do agree that Nike needs a little bit more farm to be relevant and stay ahead, so it does make sense to see Cubo Fred looking at that as we say gank in this dueling.
Just trying to burn down Cycle and spin as fast as they can. They might even be able to get it, but Zap is one hit.
Nice O's. And they do manage to pick up the kill, but now the return is here. Aurora blinks in, gets the ultimate off. Rotation coming from Adapting and from the grasp of death and Big Man Tings. But he splits the uprights between the two. Doesn't matter though. Neil ends up falling down to Adapting. Cubo Fred now on the scene and Paul rotating in to make it an even fight. But the damage has already been done.
Should get pretty easy control of the jungle over here.
Yeah.
If they get a pick onto Zap early, that could be it.
Well, Aurora's looking at Zapman right now and catches him after the leap too. However, he escapes for the time being, but how long can he survive under the tower? Not long enough. Neil gets in here, drops the ring. Phantom's available and will allow him to escape. And this is just tatters for PK here. I feel like PK, like we said, like have a comp to try and pick a frontline target. But Radiance are so comfortable. They are taking 5-on-5s, and PK can't answer back. They're now on the FG here, Gore, and I don't think we're going to see PK be able to contest it.
This is just the glory of having two Phantoms, right? So the conversation to be had with Sunder as well when you're up against a Nike, but anytime you have a Relic, those cooldowns are in detriment to them. But if they can just find a good opening, especially with a Phoenix around them, they can at least get one fight back. Unfortunately, they've got a pretty big hole to dig themselves out of.
It's kind of now or never, I feel like, for PK to get back into it, but they're going to have to take this fight with a minute and a half left on Radiance's Fire Giant buff too. So it's going to be even harder. In to the left-hand Phoenix go Radiance. Benji and Aurora leading the charge. Fields of Love drop down and the Grasp of Death towards Neil Marr. Not the greatest use of ultimates from Radiance there. As Scary D tries to frontline and keep them at bay. Meanwhile, the rest of PK just hanging back, waiting for the window to re-engage. But Cubo Fred lost half his health. Neil Marr to the back, drops the ring down to try and dissuade Radiance from continuing. It forces Radiance off that frontline Phoenix for now. And Benji ends up falling down as Radiance scatter backwards. A solid defense out of PK there. They played that patiently and exactly when they needed to. Those blinks available to them as well. Fire Giant pulled by Benji just to give the aggro. He can resustain off that Neil. Keeping an eye on it from PK's point of view. Lanes are pushed in, but to the backline goes Aurora and Adapts at the same time. They want Zapman out of the fight, and they do just that. Aurora still giving chase there, as Neil drops the ring down to try and stop Radiance piling on in. But can Aurora get the kill? He can. It should come at the cost of his life, but as they all turn their attention to Aurora, the boys of Radiance show up in spades. Scary does at least take down Aurora at the same time. Cubo disengages. A 1-for-1 support for a Hunter though definitely plays into Radiance's favor for now, especially when all ultimates are consumed.
Especially, and again, we don't talk about passives a whole ton because sometimes, I mean, they do exactly what they're supposed to, right? They're passives. They kind of play in the background, but I think Zaps is big for this team in terms of shredding protections, and now they're getting to the backline. Radiance have a through line.
Cupid just going to get that heart bomb off. Great work from Cyclone catching Paul. That's his first death. And that's going to cause so many more problems. Cubo Fred can't be in the fight. Scary D's about to disappear too. This minion's pushing down right and left. This should be a Phoenix. And they don't even have to look at the Fire Giant yet. What are the respawn timers like? They might be able to end this game off this. I'm not sure.
Oh, Neil manages to get out alive. I don't know that that's going to come back to bite him, but he does have his cage up soon. If anything, he can try to lock Radiance out of the Titan or out of a Phoenix if they go forward. realistically, with Zapman respawning, like, you can't get too aggressive here. I don't know that you're really that threatened when you're running away. You still have the numbers advantage, even though Aurora's not around. Too passive so that he can get aggressive on his own, and maybe, yeah, he can clear up some waves here in mid, but now that they see him, they can get aggressive knowing it's a 4v5.
And they do just that towards Zap, who's been all-in again, and they can't defend against the engaged Radiance. Zapman already taken out. The window now opens up for Radiance on this left-hand Phoenix, and there is Oni fire minions pouring down right-hand side into the Titan room too. Radiance are looking great here. They've only got one middle Phoenix left to take down, but they're not biting off too much just yet. They didn't rush the throne room. They're going to group up in mid lane now and look for this middle Phoenix.
Still 4 members alive on the Knights, just enough to maybe cause some trouble, but not enough to be scary. Paul is maybe the one that can make the big plays with his ult still available, but honestly, I don't know who he transforms into to try and have that impact here. Same thing, Scary D has those executes. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, into the Titan room they go, and look at the damage already wailing away onto the Titan. This could be too much, but meanwhile on the backside, Paul does get in and get hold of Big Man Tiggs for his first death now. But Big Man Tiggs' passive is available, and will make sure Paul pays the iron price. Benji now will take the life of Paul as the continuation onto Cubo Fred from Cyclone Spin, and that's game 1 going the way around.
I mean, they play it slow, they play it methodical, they do exactly what they need to find themselves a win.
To be pulling people in for this Raw on cooldown, and you take that key piece out by killing this Raw, and the composition doesn't work as well. Maybe PK can even this up with this comp, or maybe Radiance can take up
the picks, you know, the newer gods. We've got like a Season 2 matchup here. There's Ares, a Geb, which we've not seen Geb in a while, and a Jonqui solo, which the Destic predict is that composition that PK is running here. These chains are going to really limit the mobility, and if they've not got mobility, they're going to get hit by all of them. And talking about getting hit, Scary D has to beat early on as a level 2 adapting gank comes through, and Benji's going to get pressure in this lane again. Radiance's composition this game too, Gore, very similar to game 1. The 3 same frontlining gods, and the blink from Benji will get first blood. Scary D getting greedy, waiting for the creeps there. How is Big Man's juke boots going to be? Can he survive long enough for the team to back him up?
And a lot of the difficulty, you know, when you look at it, I think the tankiness, this is something that Geb enables for the Knights, but it's also a detriment. You know, Neil doesn't want to have to use the shield on himself, and there's the first Cataclysm of the game. Oh, man!
There's the first kill of the game. The backup's there, and this is PK with what they could do if they find that window. Great setup from Neil.
It's going to charge up a lot faster than Beads, so as long as you do it once, you should be able to do it a second.
They were hunting, and they found the target they were after. It's Neil Moore in the mid lane there, and again, we just saw them hover those right-hand harpies, and Radiance do it again. Neil Moore takes it for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, they've hit that awkward stall moment. Like, it just feels like it's too difficult to kill anyone, but that's actually going to be a pretty good snipe. That might open up some opportunities from Radiance.
Oh yeah, well Zap took more damage than bargained for, and now he's having to run away for his life. Will escape Neil Moore though, a different story. That was a collapse there from PK on the red buff, because Zap managed to get a bit of pressure on Scrap.
A lot of those big engage ults used by Radiance, though, that might give an opening to the Knights. They have all 5 of theirs still available.
Scary's
Neil's half health. He's going to have to back away. Same thing for Scary. Yeah, like you said, low. They're going to have to back away or risk going into this fight. Had a disadvantage to start it off.
And the Fury getting very, very low. In comes Neil Moore, 3-man knockup. There's the Ambler coming into play as well. And on the fight, the ghosts are being exhumed. But it's Scary that's taken out. Cyclone Spin with a kill. Everyone's still alive on the side of PK's adapting. Gets away with the barest amount of health. Now it's just Zap really left alone to defend. He should be able to kill Benji though to make it at least a 2-for-2 exchange. And the Fury stays alive. Crazy little engage there, but look at how much damage went through. And funny enough, I thought Radiance would fall back. Oh, they took Paul out with a snipe off camera stage. An exit as Zap now beads. Doesn't find the kill on adapting. Radiance get the Fury. It's 6-3 over a very
got like a week
fight.
off. I guess technically Radiance got a couple in there where their games were delayed, so they didn't have to worry too much about it. But you have to think they're feeling invigorated here, and that's what it looks like.
Cubo Fred isn't feeling invigorated. Adapting is, however. He's having a great series so far, as is the whole of Radiance.
Otherwise, all have gone towards Radiance. Fire Giants towards Radiance. Pyromancers mostly towards Radiance here, although they've been willing to give that one up because of how much they get out of pressure everywhere else. Every single tower down, mid Phoenix down. Like, pressure on the map is the way you win, and they're playing
Blink
perfect.
from Neil. Cataclysm connects. Focus on Aurora, who is impaled away. Scary D trying to get to the back alongside Cubo Fred to Cyclone Spin, but Cyclone Spin is still alive. Scary does at least take down Aurora. The ghosts wear off from Scary D. Benji bought some time with his Cloud there, and the Cloud clone will give some vision of what PK want to do. But you're in a tanky build, you are causing issues for the team. And that's opening up this 3-2 split that we see here right now. Big man Tings, Aurora and Cyclone on the left. Keep an eye on Aurora for the blinking gauges. Expect Neil to do the same thing. Benji and Adapting though, they're looking at Cubo Fred, and Cubo Fred's under a ton of pressure. He doesn't even have time to get his ultimate off before he bursts on down. And the ghost from Scary D just wail away into nothingness. That's 2 ultimates used and 1 life taken away from PK, as now Radiance group is 5 on the left hand side.
They group up right under that heal, full health by the way, because of Fire Giant and Ra. Now they can just go right back in. This is a good spot for Aurora.
Yeah, but Aurora's going to take a bit of damage from this Phoenix. Not a ton, though, I will say. He's tanking right through that one. Takes that left-hand Phoenix down. Middle Phoenix is weakened too. Radiance are in a good spot here. PK have to stand somewhere, but with a lack of ultimates on their assassins and their damage dealers, it's zapping Neil, really, that you're hoping to try and get some good damage out in this engagement. But Radiance, just being patient. Blinking from Neil. 5-man Cataclysm! But it comes for naught, I feel like, because there's no follow-up damage at all. They force Radiance back off the Phoenix. There's no escape, though, from Aurora. Pulls Neil in to his death. And without the Geb being around, the backline of PK has to turn tail. Middle Phoenix falls, and Radiance don't even look for the end. They're looking for the final Phoenix on this right-hand side.
Still a 4v5, it's too awkward to try and dive into the Titan room, but if they get this kill, it might just be over. Adapting's going in big onto Cubo.
Whiff. Big whiff as well as they take out Cubo Fred. Zapman will get the krill onto Adapting and trade, but Adapting gets the double with a poison spread. Big man with another one, and it's going to be a 2-0 here. I feel like Radiance may just be causing a huge issue for PK as we go to game 3 in this best of 5.
And you have to look at something, and you can see it there at the very end, but if you get the chance at some future time, go back and watch all of those late-game team fights and look at one thing. We had mentioned
this is their best comp that they've drafted so far, and if they're going to show up, this is the comp they're going to show up on. And I think Sobek is just a far better god for Neil for what he does, because he falls so far behind, and the other gods are so much more punishable, that Sobek is just going to feel a lot better for Neil.
Sobek should be able to give Neil more value.
2-0 hole that you've got to dig yourself out of in a best of 5 here. It makes sense to me, Gormizer, that we're going to see PK kind of turn to a bit more of a traditional composition we've seen them do before and succeed with here. You know, 2 magical damage dealers, not a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, it feels way more difficult to lock down King Arthur than like a Zhang Gui, right?
Oh.
But it looks like they're going to be looking around for that red buff.
Great dash in from Big Man there, just to continue applying the damage, and Cubo will survive. But that was set up by Adapting, aggressing on in towards Red Buff Invade, now coming through from Radiance. Adapting going to be able to pick that up alongside Aurora. But look at Zapman, old classic Apollo in the house, coming in to try and contest. But now it sets up a weird play that could be a 1-for-1, because the bomb over the wall from Big Man will secure on Zapman at the tail end of that to make sure that goes that way. But Radiance get the red buff and take out Zap in exchange for Adapting. Pressure still mounting though as Radiance still pushing forward. A small engagement in mid, and now they go straight for a Furies on the right hand side. Benji's taking a scrap against Paul, causing 4 members of PK to be on this right hand side, having to deal with him being overextended. If Benji dies here, it's not really a problem. If he gets a kill, it's a small win. Because all the while, Radiance have already found their windows of success on the left-hand side of the map.
And you have to look at where they're defending. In fact, they're even going to get aggressive even more so. Neil's pulled back in.
And Neil will end up falling down there. Paul had to just leave to the right-hand side there, realized that no escape. It's just going to continue to roll in Radiance's favor as a red buff is looked at again. This time, though, Cubo Fred's here early, blinking from Neil, but he ends up taking a ton of damage, now chained up, and that'll cost him his life just trying to make a play happen. In comes Zapman, though, on the Apollo. Is he going to come down is the question. Maybe looking towards adapting instead. He gets caught in a bit of no man's land here, looking for the kill on adapting. It will secure. No escape from a Raw. Will pull in Cubo Fred, but Big Man Ting's being chased down by Scary D on the King Arthur, and it might be a kill there for Scary D, but meanwhile in mid lane it could be a double for Cyclone Spin as he takes out Zapman, and with now Benji and Cyclone and Aurora all together, the window opens maybe towards a very early FG if they want. Cyclone's huge, he's ahead of Scary D.
Aurora, he gets the chains on him too! That's Cubo's life as well. That's a good stagger kill when it comes out to it. And that just means you're going to be looking at it's a 4v5, 16 seconds Radiance got it handed a big fat L in the last playoffs. I don't know that Ghost want to do it here, especially with him looking much better. I mean, Scary D's just in trouble here. I don't even know if there's much you can do about this as King Arthur. You just accept your fate. And this is where things get awkward, right?
You're some unfortunate circumstances, illness, put them behind for a little bit, and they've been playing catch up for a while, but when it's important, it's coming up big. The no escape manages to help Big Man take out Neil already, and that's a frontline tank off the table. 4v5 against a fire giant Radiance, less than 20 minutes in, and that's 2 Phoenixes down already. The fire minions are beating down the Titan as Radiance 5-man stack rotating to mid to backdoor the Phoenix. Benji gets aggressive, goes in towards Paul, tries to find a stun, and it's on Cubo Fred. The chains follow up from a Raw as Dargy's there to whittle down the health bar with the bombs and axes raining down from Cyclone Spin. 3 Phoenixes down at 20 minutes. Radiance are looking clean.
Neil respawns, he's going to be back for this. With Paul alive, I maintain hope, but there's a lot of damage off the board. No ults really available other than Zapman and Scary D to try and make a big difference, but neither of those are really the game changers in the middle of a team fight. You can see, I think Radiance maybe just waiting for this right to respawn, maybe waiting on the minions. Either way, they have a distinct advantage on this side of the map to try and end it right here if they get in.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both here. In they go. Benji to the back, looking towards Paul front line, though. Neilmark does catch on a Cyclone Spin, and Cyclone gets very low, uses the Aegis to survive, but just as he tries to get away, Scary D grabs him. PK are holding on by the barest of margins. With Cyclone dead, Radiance turn tail, but they will take this Phoenix down, I feel like. It's going to cost them a couple more lives. Zapman's in the sky. There goes Benji taken out. Where's Zap going to come down? Into the sky goes Adapting, though, with the power with Zapman crashing it into Big Man's head. Neil takes out Adapting, and now it's only a Raw left. A DSI coming up for PK. They needed it. But how much can they get off the back at 20 minutes in? They get experience off this gore, but just look at the state of their base.
I mean,
and as soon as King Arthur turns up to defend that, Benji finds a window. There's the ult from Aurora, though. Zoned away from PK for the time being. Is now Dargy in the sky with the Paolo. Will pull in Cubo Fred. And there's not enough health on that shield to keep him alive. Neither the Phoenix. In goes Adapting again, forcing the ult from Paul defensively as the middle Phoenix falls down to Benji. We're in a very similar state to a few seconds ago now with the right-hand Phoenix about to spawn. Benji trying to get a good stun ult on the backside. Radiance looking for a window. Scary D does manage to pick up for a second Cyclone Spin with that King Arthur ultimate, but it's not enough to force Radiance back. They're still knocking on the door of PK.
And I love the way they're utilizing Benji. He's just been a Phoenix killer. He's a distraction factor. Now, again, all 3 Phoenixes are down. They're able to really dictate the pace of this fight, but they have 20 seconds until Cubo's back.
They're farming kills at the moment. They don't need to worry about the Titan. Just take one more man off, and this could be the game. This is going to be a 3-0 sweep to Radiance. Can you Adam and Eve it?
I mean, right there. You got to look at it. That's a $10,000